want to take a little moment to take a break from product, and I want to bring somebody out who will speak to you from the heart, and I know he will absolutely touch yours as well. Please give a round of applause for Travis Parker, our artist.
Morning, everybody. You know, it's interesting. I had a friend the other day tell me a rather profound statement that I can't get out of my head. I want to share it with you guys. And she said, Travis, don't look back in anger, and don't look forward in fear, but look around you with awareness. It was a friend and a client. Her name's Jenny Craig. You may know her name. Jenny has indirectly mentored me in so many ways in the years that I've known her, that she single-handedly has really changed me as a person. She saw something in me that I didn't even know existed. And she continues to be my friend, and she continues to be my client. How many of us fear things in the sense of moving forward? Do we fear change? Do our clients fear change? How many of us have ever held on to something bad somebody's done to us? Raise your hand. In a sense of anger, you're pissed. Screw them, right? It's another thing that anchors us. How many of us either practice this philosophy or already dominate in this category of really living a balanced life, of not fearing what's to come, with the ability of letting go of what already has happened? How many of us, raise your hands, are already practicing this or living it right now? Awesome. You see, guys, this is an individual reality. Every one of us has natural instincts and the ability to scare the crap out of ourselves or not to be scared. We have the fear of the unknown that constantly holds us back. I want to share with you a short story about one of my greatest patients so far. And yes, I test on humans, not on animals. This patient specifically is related to me. He's my son. He's a 4-year-old. And he's in a position now where his friends that are 5, and in the later stages of 4, are learning to ride a bike, or if not, already know how to ride a bike. And so Hudson, my son, tells me, Daddy, I want to ride a bike. And based upon his experiences of falling and learning with other opportunities and other activities, he's afraid he's going to fall. So he, in essence, has already sabotaged himself, which, of course, he's 4, so God help him. He's already sabotaged himself to the point that he doesn't even want to attempt it. Yet he feels like an outsider because he doesn't have it. Am I making sense? So I thought to myself, okay, let's get this kid into this. My objective is to teach him how to ride a bike. Now, what's the journey in this? Because if I just put him on a bike and I encourage him to pedal, I encourage him to balance the bike, he's not going to learn how to ride his bike. So what I had to understand was what was the vehicle that I could use to get around this so I could distract him from what he's scared of. And you see, my son, just like you and I, is inspired by certain things. One thing specific, one category specifically, is sort of random, is food. My kid loves to eat, which I know a lot of kids don't, so I didn't, I still don't. That little kid loves mint chip ice cream specifically. And if it's not mint chip, it's pepperoni pizza. In any order, it doesn't matter, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? So I thought to myself, okay, let's start with baby steps. Teach him how to ride this bike. Hudson, if you get from point A to point B, and point B was only maybe 10 feet, and you can balance your bike from that point to this point, you get a scoop of ice cream. My kid's eyes lit up, and I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, buddy, every time you do it, you get another scoop of ice cream. Well, let me tell you, over and over again, he started nailing it. And all of a sudden, he wasn't even thinking about what he was doing. He wasn't thinking about the fact that he didn't know how to balance a bike and ride a bike. He was thinking about the ice cream. By the end of it, I got to like 10 or 15 scoops. I'm like, all right, ice cream to infinity tonight. And I'm like, what's one night of a cracked out kid, right? I can hang. So, as we're doing this, we get to a point where we're ready to put the pedals on the bike and for him to start his momentum and his movement. And my son, obsessed with pepperoni pizza, specifically is obsessed with a place called Pizza Port, which is in San Diego, California, which is like any pizza joint you've ever been to that's got video games in it. Basically, he wants to go play the video games because at home he doesn't get to play them. And so he gets to go there and I get to eat some creepy pizza, right? But this is what he loves, he's obsessed. And so I say, all right, buddy, if you can ride around the entire block tonight, we're going to Pizza Port. Matter of fact, let me just leave that open. Whenever it happens that you get entirely around the block, you get to go to Pizza Port. Play as many games as you want, get as much speech as you want. This is where we're at. And he goes, game on. So I'm like, all right. So I get behind him, and I've got this little balance buddy thing that I hold on the back of his seat. And basically he goes, and when he gets his momentum going, I let go, and he takes off. So we start the process, and he gets about 10 feet. This is the first couple times he's ever pedaled. And we stop, and I'm like, all right, buddy, don't give up. Let's try one more time. Pizza Port. And so he's like, all right, his eyes light back up again. He gets re-inspired again. And sure enough, he gets on the bike, and I'm sort of running behind him like this. And I let go of it, and he's not aware that I've even let go. And he makes it all the way around the block. And all of a sudden, he throws his bike down, and he looks up at me. And he goes, Dad, do we get to go to Pizza Port? I'm like, buddy, we get to go to Pizza Port. And we have this celebratory moment. But what I'm trying to say is, it wasn't about what the objective was. Because of course now he knows how to ride a bike. But my son's unique in the sense that what drives him is totally different than what drives you or me. So our greatest challenge is to uniquely figure out what their human nature is, to figure out how to position the objective. And is it a direct path? Generally it's not. I have a short little video of our experience. Would you guys like to see it? All right, can we roll that video? Let's see. Are you kidding me? Let's put the mic down. High five, dude.
Did I get to go to Pizza Port tonight?
My kid got Pizza Port, and he now forever will ride a bike. My name's Travis Parker. I've been a hairdresser for 28 years. I've been blessed to be in this incredible industry of discovery. I'm in the fantastic stage of really spinning it with psychology. I'm also blessed that I get to stand on the stage for L'Oreal as an international artist that traveled the world for the brand, developing curriculum, mentoring, developing formats and programs, all sorts of unique things, product launches, all kinds of great stuff. In the challenge of it all, I'm always challenged the same way you guys are. How do I position it that I can create a greater purpose? I can create something that's fun. I can create something that people are going to fall in love with. And soon it'll become second nature. So I'm constantly in this analytical process of defragmenting what's traditional. Defragmenting what maybe is common sense. What comes out of the box. How can we place this in a way that becomes completely unique? In the way that I taught Hudson, it became a challenge for me that became completely unique. And within an hour and 20 minutes, my kid was riding a bike. Within an hour and 20 minutes prior to that, he was scared to get on that bike. So we nailed it. In my professional life, like the salons that you deal with out in the field, I'm constantly positioned with new product launches. I'm constantly positioned with new campaigns in general, trends, whether it's with color or whether it's with cuts. What I'm constantly facing is a client that says, you know what, Travis, I've heard it all before. Yeah, it's gonna make my hair better. Yeah, it's gonna change my life. Yeah, it's gonna deposit 1.5 in my bank account. Sure. Right? We've heard it before. So it's that little voice inside that says that they listen with reservation. And from experiences, they've been let down before. They've heard it before, it's false promises. And so, when I was positioned with the opportunity to launch ProFiber in my shop, I thought, oh geez, okay, here we go again. How am I gonna do this? And like my son, it became another opportunity for me to turn it around. And I thought, okay, if I just tell my clients the idea that here's this great regimen, here's this fantastic brand, are they gonna believe me or are they not gonna believe me? Which is truly my own insecurities, nothing more. But at the same time, it posed a challenge for me. Driven by challenge. So I thought, well, L'Oreal has produced an app that allows me to execute this process that much more easily and in a way that's fun and educational. And I'll tell you this much. Initially, when I saw that app, I'm like, I deal with an extremely affluent and experienced clientele. And if I put an iPad down in front of them, am I gonna seem B-level? Am I gonna seem like I'm not the expert? You see, at that moment, I was shooting myself in the foot. At that moment, I was already sabotaging the end result. I was predicting what was gonna happen. The spin that happened was I thought, you know what? L'Oreal produced these products. The chemists that produce these products know a hell of a lot more than I do. They're the experts. What I become is a vehicle of experience now in this equation. So I put the iPad down, which everybody on the planet is familiar with the iPad, familiar with defragmenting their life through different apps that they can use for whatever. And so there was a familiarity for them already to touch the iPad, to interface with the iPad. The UI is incredibly simple, obviously. And at the end, what they loved was that they were getting a prescription that I might not have assigned them with. But based upon my experience now with ProFiber and seeing the end result over and over and over again, I was the expert in that category. And so now all of a sudden, I wasn't selling anything to anybody. I was using the iPad as a vehicle to get me to the objective, which I knew from the bottom of my heart, from my own experiences, that it was gonna make their hair better. So I encourage you all, slow down, stop yourself. What's in your natural human nature is unique to you. Don't sabotage yourselves. Stop and look around with awareness. Thank you guys very much for your time. I would like to introduce Jeremy Moore, one of our top DSCs in your territory. Jeremy would like to give you a little testimonial on his experience with ProFiber. Thank you guys again. Jeremy, it's all yours.